Change management efforts fail 70% of the time. Here's a way that you can be one of the 30. During a change management workshop, the participants divided up into breakout groups and discussed change execution. One of the owners, we'll call her Carol. She shared a challenge with renovating an existing manufacturing facility near a neighborhood undergoing some investment in urban development. She thought that the new facility would be a welcome change as a demonstration of investment and opportunity into the neighborhood. However, the local population was not happy about having another factory, the dirty and loud kind, being in their midst. I shared with the group how these people are also stakeholders in her business. You don't have to work or do business directly with a group of people or even an individual to be a stakeholder. Many residents in the neighborhood lived there long enough to remember when the original factory was built back in the day, and the promises were made to persuade these people to vote in favor of rezoning so that jobs, economic, and prosperity for the neighborhood and investment within that neighborhood, these were all presented and looked like they would be an adequate bargaining chip to swing the favor of the local residents. However, most of these promises never came to fruition, and that left the people untrusting. Now, with another company taken over after 6 years of an eyesore due to neglect and mismanagement of inactivity, Carol had a challenge of dealing with some very disgruntled people. They would speak negatively about anyone associated with the original factory and anyone who they could get to listen to their story. It could be the press, passerbys, contractors that were going in and out of the facility, anybody who would lend an ear. This was actually becoming disruptive as people would cause trouble with vehicles trying to get into the parking facility that were part of the renovation effort, or the management team and other stakeholders and partners that were trying to do business with this company to get the factory back up and going. And at the same time, some of these residents started to carry less than flattering picket signs. Stakeholders involve anyone affected by your organization. When planning change, identification and inclusion of these people can prove crucial to the success of corporate change efforts. Starting with internal stakeholder identification, these players are fairly obvious, but you can overlook some people that you may need, like environmental services, finances, transportations, and other components within the organization that are necessary, carrying resources to make the change effort that much easier and more successful. A more complete holistic solution includes people that may not be directly involved, but stakeholders nonetheless. These departments are crucial to providing the necessary support to help that change implementation succeed. External stakeholders beyond customers and vendors are easier to forget. It may take some probing to determine who the organization affects or who you would like the business to affect. Some basic external stakeholders can include competitors, financial institutions, professional societies, trade associations, media sources, and the surrounding community or neighborhoods, governments, local, state, federal, and international if you're doing business abroad, as well as educational institutions, special interest groups, and the list goes on. Understanding how your organization's links with these various stakeholder groups can promote a relationship wellness to improve the possibilities of a successful change management execution. The neuroscience behind people perceive change demonstrates their feelings when they feel threatened by negative stimuli that their reasoning and logical thought and creativity could otherwise improve. Those resources contributed to a higher chance of success of any project. I followed up with Carol on a few occasions and assisting with applying a couple of ideas and some other elements that were discussed during the workshop. And during this time, she was able to take some of those suggestions and successfully apply them to begin to change the perception of the people in the surrounding community. These ideas included Carol creating a bond to get to know their concern. One of the things that Carol did was share her story about how she started this business and how it grew to the point where she was fortunate enough to expand into this new facility to help continue the growth that she had worked so hard to achieve. Treating the people in the neighborhood as stakeholders, she began to build a bridge of understanding by becoming partners in the environment, living in a symbiotic relationship with the residents there. Carol expressed that she wished she knew about these tactics ahead of time and could have saved quite a bit of time and a little bit of frustration. However, she eventually built that bridge, and building positive relationships did prove to be of great benefit in the end. For change champions, I recommend creating a list of internal and external stakeholders. This is just a starting point. If you take a look at this example, this gives you some ideas about direction, brainstorming, and how to look at these elements and think deeply about who should be on your list. It's normal to expect this list to be revised. You may look at this and add and subtract different elements multiple times through your change project. But as you identify them, you will find that you're making changes less and less as that core group of stakeholders is realized and solidified. Customize this, incorporate it into your change process, because having such a reference can help determine the impact these elements can contribute to the change effort. It can really help brainstorm the change, and then once you've identified these contributors, you will be far closer to being one of those 30. Good luck, and I'll see you in the winner's circle.